The IRC was founded in 1989 as a result of student protest at the time.
I attended Columbia College from 1976 to 1980. It was a small but very active student community of color. During the 1980s, there were a number of protests on campus and incidents with racial overtones.
It was what you would expect Columbia to be, a very vocal and independent group of students. They wanted a lot, they expected a lot, and they were not shy about saying so.
In the spring of 1987, Columbia found itself in a state of shock. A racial incident in which at least 20 white male students had attacked approximately 8 black students and community members had occurred on the steps of Ferris Booth Hall.
Roger Laheka, who was the Dean of Students, had been a major support for students of color.
Roger Laheka organized a meeting of students of color, and there was an honest, unfiltered discussion, and among the suggestions was what became the Intercultural Resource Center.
Bill Wiggins was the Assistant Dean of Students, and his focus was on students of color and multicultural student initiatives.
There was a fraternity house on 113th Street that had been vacated. So then this group of students, there were about 12 students, and its first director, who was a graduate student named Richard Chacon, moved into the space on 113th Street, and then the IRC was born.
Gemma Campbell was also here at the time. She was right there with Bill, and later on, Gemma actually joined the staff over here at the IRC.
Then the space moved to 552 114th Street in 1996, and its director was Susan Stewart.
The IRC consists of the 552 and 554 brownstones, both a programming center and a residential space. When Columbia started, when Barnard was created, they weren't thinking of a black girl from Boston who's poor, who has a single mom. It has changed obviously over the years.
For years, the IRC had been somewhat neglected, I think, in terms of the space itself.
And this was before the IRC was housed under the Office of Multicultural Affairs.
I was asked if I would take on the role of Associate Dean of Students, specifically for academic services and intercultural resources. Our goal was to really make it a destination on campus and to make it a home for the students and for other folks in the community. And so we started having programs here.
There were a number of things that were happening that were so incredibly racist, and it was a question about whether that was racist. The anti-affirmative action bake sale selling baked goods at different prices. So it's cheapest for black women because we benefit so much. Most expensive for white males. It was a galvanizing moment because we can't get away from it. It's in our student center in front of our faces. And they were calling people out. A friend of mine being pointed at and being asked, how do you feel that you're taking the place of a white person who deserves to be here? And that was really the last straw for people to say, we can't get away from these kinds of incursions on who we are, like our identities, and us being able to be here and not be aggressed in this way.
They dressed in black, stood in the middle of College Walk, days at a time, and they carried placards that said, I have been silenced.
Was a grand coalition of folks concerned with a number of things, chiefly taking up our expansion into Harlem and Manhattanville, the work of needing to shore up and support ethnic studies on campus, and maintaining and growing safe spaces for marginalized people on this campus.
Under the leadership of Dean Corliss Thomas, the Office of Multicultural Affairs was founded in 2004, again as a result of student protest. Hunger strike of 2008 led to the expansion of the Intercultural Resource Center. So we went from 13 residents, 552 114th Street, we now have 552 and 554 114th Street. And so we have 33 residents who live here. So you have all of these students who are here, and they bring all of their friends here and all of their organizations here. And so it's alive. Every moment of the day, we have student groups, many different ones, the Muslim Students Association, Proud Colors, which is for LGBT students of color, Chicano Caucus, Grupo Quesqueano, which is the Dominican group, SAMI, which is Black Organization Against Mass Incarceration. You have students from different backgrounds talking about identity, about their struggles, about theory, activism, and so you live here and you can walk by the space at any time of the day, and there's some really interesting meeting happening, and you can stop in.
A lot of campus leaders, organizers from different groups live here.
The space is filled with students from all over the place because this is a space you come. People just know know, something happens on campus where somebody's been targeted, or even something in the world, like Black Lives Matter. The students did a die-in on Low Plaza during the ULOG ceremony. There were hundreds of students, and they walked out and they all ended up back here at the Intercultural Resource Center. And after that, we had Sister Circle, which is a support space for women of color, talking about it. We had Kush, which is the Columbia University Society of Hip Hop, was doing a cipher downstairs. People just, they come here to be themselves.
If you're going to be a resident in the IRC, you have to care about building community, you have to care about building bridges, you have to care about going beyond. If you're coming from a civil rights background, you have to be willing to go beyond that and to care about the issues that other people in this house care about. And so it grows. So the IRC, I think, is growth, it is progression, it's openness.
It's the physical space, but also what that then engenders for folks who can support and also challenge each other. It was very clear this is a place that people are serious about their orientation towards justice.
The IRC also functions as a space for people to feel comfortable and not necessarily in opposition to that discomfort that they feel through those kinds of things that exist on campus, but be celebrated in your identity, to be affirmed in who you are.
So it always was this sort of space where students lived and they organized, and you would see them walking around in their pajamas with protest signs, but there would also be laughter and open mics and artists, and an eclectic space for lots of different students from different backgrounds to come together, but they all had a focus on social justice.
The IRC was the safe space on campus. You know, the place that you could go, and whoever you are, that's absolutely fine.
It's a space that's trying to provide safety for people who feel otherwise alienated, but also it's called a resource center. So it gives a lot to the whole community on campus. So teach-ins about, like, if people are confused about what's a microaggression or want to learn about, I don't know, radical Black feminism, and there aren't a lot of spaces to host events like that, this is a center for, like, the whole campus to educate themselves.
Students would be here negotiating, student protesters, with President Bollinger, Nick Dirks. There were these major senior level administrators would come to the IRC to meet with student activists.
This is where we live, and there's something about bringing people to where we are and where we are safe and we are comfortable. I want you to come to our living room. I want to talk to you about it.
Why is there a need for the Intercultural Resource Center 25 years later? Unfortunately, research shows us that there is this myth of the post-racial society, or post-Obama, where issues of identity and inequity are not real. And so we have that sort of in the background, but then students, they're having very different experiences where they're experiencing microaggressions all over the place. And so it's having an impact on mental health, on how they're doing academic performance, and general well-being, and that's an issue.
There's still spaces on campus where I don't feel safe expressing my identities at all. In the IRC, where I'm able to express myself entirely.
It's definitely been a place where I've just learned so much from the people that I live with. And I feel that so much of who I am has really been shaped by conversations that have happened in this room. Difficult and necessary conversations happen here.
For a new student coming to Columbia, I would definitely hope that they find people that really embrace their desire to, like, express themselves fully.
This campus can be really negative sometimes, the city can be really negative sometimes. So we try to make this as affirming a space as possible, but we try to be vocal in our celebration of each other.
The alumni that come out of this space are doing amazing work in their communities. So all of them are looking at issues of justice and social justice and how that relates to their work.
I hope that this will always be an organizing space. I hope that this will always be a space where students can come in and feel at home, both physically and, within themselves. I hope that Columbia recognizes what it has in the IRC.
What would it be like if every time you walked into a space or you came into an environment, people affirmed you? We intentionally create this.